Welcome back to our channel. Today's story isn't just about betrayal. It's about a woman so rich, so powerful, that she thought money could erase everything about herself, including the basic human act of taking a bath. This is the story of Madam Shadi. And trust me, her fall from grace. It will shock you. In the heart of Lagos, Nigeria, lived a woman named Chief Mrs. Foshadi Bank Williams. But everyone called her by one name: Madam Shadi. Madam Shadi was extraordinarily rich. 5 massive houses, 10 luxury cars, jewelry that could make a queen jealous. Her wardrobe, only designer. Her shoes, imported from Italy. Her bags, flown in from Paris. Even her toilet paper was shipped from America because she claimed Nigerian toilet paper was too rough for her royal skin. But here's the thing about Madam Shadi. She had one massive, disgusting secret. A secret that would eventually destroy her completely. Madam Shadi did not like to bathe. And I'm not talking about occasionally missing a shower. No. This woman could go 5 days, 10 days, sometimes an entire week, without touching water. Her body was drier than the streets of Lagos in summer. But, and this is the genius part of her deception, she covered it up with expensive perfumes. Fragrances that cost more than most people's entire monthly salary. She would drench herself, head to toe, neck, underarms, between her toes, everywhere. The perfume cloud around her was so thick that when she walked into a room, people would smell her from the gate. And she was proud of it. That's how wealthy people smell, she would say, throwing her head back like a peacock showing its feathers. Not like you poor people who bathe with cheap soap and still smell like struggle. And Madam Shadi's mouth, sharp as a razor blade. Madam Shadi would humiliate people about their hygiene. At the market, she would hold her nose when poor traders came near. Move back. You girls smell like failure. Go and bathe again. Scrub your skin until it shines. Poor people must work extra hard to smell decent. Within 2 years, she had gone through 12 housemaids. 12 different girls who all ran away after enduring her constant insults. Madam Shadi didn't care. She had money. Money could buy new maids anytime. But then came Yatandi. Yatandi was a small, quiet girl from Ibadan. 23 years old. Skinny like a broomstick. And her eyes, they held an innocence that broke your heart. She came to Lagos for one reason: her mother was dying in the hospital. Surgery was needed. Medication was needed. And most importantly, money was needed. When Yotandi arrived for the interview, Madam Shadi looked at her like she was inspecting trash. You look weak, Madam sneered, her nose high in the air. Can you even walk? Yes, Madam, Yatandi replied quietly, her head bowed. I'm a very hard worker. Madam Shadi continued her inspection with disgust. And look at these clothes you're wearing. Is this what they wear in Ibadan? This blouse looks like something a pig would reject. And it smells. Yatandi bit her lips so hard she could taste blood. But she said nothing. Her mother was dying. She couldn't afford to lose this job over pride. You must bathe 3 times a day, minimum, Madam Shadi commanded. I cannot have smelly people in my house. Yes, Madam, Yotandi said quietly. She was hired. Salary 30,000 naira per month. If only Yatandi had known what was waiting for her. The first week, Yatandi worked like a machine. 4:30 a.m. wake up. Sweep the compound. Wash all clothes. Make breakfast, lunch, dinner, clean bathrooms, polish furniture. She did everything. But it was during that first week that she discovered something shocking. One morning, while cleaning Madame Shadi's bedroom, Yetandi witnessed the morning ritual. Madame Shadi would wake up, go straight to her dresser wear. But when she went to clean the bathroom, the bathtub was completely dry. There was even a thin layer of dust inside it. The shower head looked like it hadn't been touched with water in weeks. Only the sinks showed signs of use, just for washing her face and hands. Yetandi stood there in shock. What kind of thing is this? She whispered to herself. For the next few days, she observed carefully. Every single morning. The same pattern. Perfume. 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 No water. No soap. No bathing. The woman who insulted everyone about being dirty was the dirtiest person in the entire world. But Yetandi decided to mind her business. This is not my problem, she told herself. I came here to work and make money for my mother's surgery. Whatever Madam is doing is her business. Let me just focus on my work and collect my salary. But Madame Shadi had other plans. By the second week, the real hell started. One evening, after dinner, Yetandi was washing plates in the kitchen when Madame Shadi walked in, her nose wrinkled like a spoiled mango. What is that smell? She demanded. Yetandi looked around confused. You are the smell, Madame Shadi's voice rose. When was the last time you bathed? You smell like a pig rolling in mud. But Yetandi had just bathed 30 minutes ago. She bathed 3 times a day as instructed. But Madam, I just... Don't lie to me. Madame Shadi's voice became shrill. You must have used that cheap soap. Go and bathe again. Right now. With the antiseptic soap. Scrub yourself until your skin is burning. Tears filled Yetandi's eyes, but she went and bathed again. Her skin was already raw from bathing so many times. But this became her daily torment. Every single day, Madame Shadi would find something to complain about. Your hair smells like kerosene. Your mouth smells like rotten eggs. Your armpits smell like onions mixed with shame. The insults poured down on Yetandi like acid rain. But that was just the beginning. By the 3rd week, Madame Shadi started making Yetandi work overnight. This house must be sparkling clean for my guests tomorrow, she would say at 10 p.m. I want you to scrub every floor. Wash all the curtains. Clean all the windows. Don't sleep until you finish. Yetandi would walk through the entire night like a zombie. Her eyes red like traffic lights. Her body aching. She would finish at 5 a.m. and by 5:30 a.m. Madame Shadi's bell would be ringing for breakfast. Why are you moving like a snail? Madame would shout. Are you tired already? Lazy girl. This is why you people remain poor. No stamina for work. One day, after working 2 nights straight, Yetandi was washing dishes when a plate slipped from her tired hands and broke on the floor. She stood there frozen with fear. Madame Shadi appeared like a ghost. Her eyes turned red like pepper. You broke my plate, she screamed so loud the neighbors probably heard. Do you know how much this costs? 5,000 naira. 5,000. That's designer plates from Italy. 5,000 naira was deducted from Yetandi's salary. And that was the beginning of the deductions. Next week, Yetandi accidentally scratched Madame's car. 20,000 naira gone. She burned a hole in one of Madame's expensive wrappers while ironing. 15,000 naira gone. A wine glass broke. 8,000 naira gone. She spilled water on madam's expensive rug. 10,000 naira gone. At the end of the first month, Itandi, who was supposed to receive 30,000 naira, received only 8,000 naira after all the deductions. 8,000 naira after working like a slave for 30 days. Yetandi cried that night in her small room. She sent the 8,000 naira to her mother, who was still in the hospital, still needing medication, still piling up impossible hospital bills. Next month will be better, she told herself. But the next month was worse. By the end of the second month, 5,000 naira. Third month, 3,000 naira. And then, the fifth month came. Madam Shadi didn't pay her at all. Nothing. Not even 1 naira. Yetandi waited for weeks. Still nothing. Finally, she gathered all her courage and knocked on Madam Shadi's bedroom door. Madam, please, about my salary. Madam Shadi looked up from her phone where she was browsing expensive shoes online. What about it? It's been 3 weeks since month end and I haven't received it. Madam Shadi's response was cold. Colder than ice. I'm not paying you this month. Yetandi's heart dropped. But madam, I worked. I need the money for my mother's hospital. Did I ask you about your mother's hospital? Madam Shadi's voice was frozen. Listen, you've been breaking too many things in this house. You're careless and dirty. Consider this month as payment for all the damages you've caused. In fact, you should be thanking me that I still allow you to stay in my house. Yetandi felt her last thread of hope snap. But madam, please. My mother is very sick. The hospital is asking for money. Please, even if it's half, please. Are you deaf? Madam Shadi stood up, her face twisted with anger. I said I'm not paying you. If you ask me again, I will sack you and throw you out of this house like the dirty rag you are. Do you understand me? She pushed Yetandi out of her room and slammed the door so hard the whole house shook. Yetandi stood outside the door, tears streaming down her face like a running tap, her whole body shaking. That money was supposed to save her mother's life. She called her mother at the hospital. Mama, I'm sorry. I couldn't send money this month. Please hold on. I will send soon. Her mother's weak voice came through the phone. It's okay, my daughter. God will provide. Don't cry. Just keep working hard. But when the call ended, Yetandi cried until she had no more tears left. That night, lying on her thin mattress in her small room, staring at the ceiling, something inside Yetandi snapped. She was tired of the insults, tired of the unpaid work, tired of being treated like trash. Enough, she whispered to herself in the darkness. This woman will pay. If not with money, then she will pay with shame. And that's when she started planning. The very next morning, while cleaning Madam Shadi's room, Yetandi had her on the phone. Her voice was excited, like a child who just got candy. Yes. Yes. Book the venue's garden for November 15th. I want the biggest venue. My 50th birthday must be the event of the year. I'm inviting governors, senators, all of Lagos's elite. This party must break the internet. Yetandi's ears perked up. The birthday party. That was her opportunity. She would expose this wicked woman in front of all her important guests. She would tell everyone that Madam Shadi doesn't even bathe. That the perfume is just a mask for filth. She would disgrace her so badly that Lagos would never forget. But then, Yatandi remembered something important. Her salary. If she disgraced Madam at the party, there was no way she would come back to that house alive. Madam would probably call the police to arrest her. And Yatandi still hadn't been paid for 3 whole months. That was 90,000 naira. Money that her mother desperately needed. So Yatandi sat on the kitchen floor thinking hard. How could she get her money? And still disgrace this woman? For days, she thought about it. She couldn't just ask for the money. Madam had already threatened to fire her if she asked again. She couldn't report to authorities. Who would believe a poor housemaid over a rich billionaire? Then one night, an idea came to her. A dangerous idea. But desperate times call for desperate measures. She would take her payment herself. 2 nights before Madam Shadi's birthday party, the plan went into action. It was 11 p.m. Madam Shadi had gone out to inspect the party venue and take photos for her Instagram. Yetandi's heart was pounding like a talking drum as she tiptoed into Madam Shadi's bedroom. Her hands were shaking like leaves in a storm. She had never stolen anything in her entire life. But this wasn't really stealing, she told herself. This was collecting her salary that was being wickedly withheld. She went straight to the closet where Madam kept her wig collection. Rows and rows of expensive Brazilian wigs. Each one sitting like royalty. Yatandi knew these wigs cost at least 1 million naira each. With trembling hands, she took 4 wigs. Her heart was racing like a marathon runner. Then she went to Madam's jewelry box. 4 pieces of gold jewelry. A necklace. 2 bracelets. A ring. Real gold. But then she saw something that made her stop breathing. On Madam's dresser was a Rolex watch in a glass case. She remembered the day Madam came back from Dubai, bragging loudly to everyone. This watch cost me $143,000. That's over 70 million naira. Only the best. For me. Yatandi stared at the watch. Her hands reached out, hesitated, and then she grabbed it. She packed everything quickly into a travel bag and ran back to her room. Her whole body was shaking like someone with malaria. She had just committed a serious crime. When she thought about her mother lying in the hospital. When she remembered all the insults. All the unpaid work. All the suffering. Her resolve hardened. She called her friend Bella. Bella, I need your help. Urgently. 30 minutes later, Bella arrived. Please keep this bag for me. Don't open it. Don't ask questions. I will explain everything later. Just keep it safe until I come for you tomorrow night. Bella's eyes became wide like plates, but she agreed. After Bella left, Yatandi felt like a huge weight had been lifted from her chest. Phase 1 was complete. Now for Phase 2. The disgrace. The next day was Madam Shadi's birthday party. The woman was so busy with final preparations, she didn't even notice her wigs and jewelries were missing. Her closet was so full of expensive things that a few missing items didn't register. By 5 p.m., guests started arriving. Governors with their convoys. Senators with their mistresses. Nollywood actors in their finest. Businessmen with their big bellies. Everyone who was anyone in Lagos was there. The venue was decorated more beautifully than a wedding. White and gold everywhere. Professional lighting. A live band. Tables groaning with refreshments. And there was Madam Shadi. Wearing a golden dress that sparkled like a Christmas tree. Her neck loaded with diamonds. And of course, smelling like she had bathed in an entire bottle of perfume. Welcome, welcome, she greeted guests with a smile wider than the third mainland bridge. Yetandi was working in the kitchen with other hired staff, but her mind was elsewhere. She was waiting for the right moment. At 7 p.m., after everyone had eaten and the MC was entertaining the guests, Yetandi took a deep breath. It was time. She walked over to where Madame Shadi was sitting with her VIP friends, forming and posturing. "Madam," Yetandi said quietly. Madame Shadi's face immediately showed irritation. "What do you want? Can't you see I'm with my guests?" "Madam, please. I need to talk to you about my salary. It's been 3 months." The entire party went silent. Madame Shadi's face turned red with anger. "What? You want to embarrass me in front of my guests on my birthday?" She grabbed a glass of champagne from the table and poured it all over Yetandi's head. The cold liquid ran down her face, her neck, soaking her uniform. The entire party went silent like someone had pressed pause on a remote. "This is what happens when you employ local girls," Madame Shadi announced to everyone. "They have no manner. No sense. Get out of my sight before I call security to throw you out." She pushed Yetandi away, making her stumble and nearly fall. Yetandi stood there, champagne dripping from her hair, her uniform soaked, her body shaking. But not with fear this time. She was shaking with rage. Pure, hot rage. The MC tried to lighten the mood. Okay. Let's not spoil this party. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from some people who want to say something nice about our celebrant." One by one, guests came up to say sweet things about Madame Shadi. "She's so generous. She's a woman of class. She inspires us all. Lies. Lies. And more lies." Then the MC said, "We also want to hear from the staff who worked hard for this party. Can we get any one of them to say something?" Some of the hired staff were too scared. But then Yetandi stepped forward. The MC handed her the microphone. Madame Shadi's eyes widened with alarm. "No, she's..." But it was too late. Yetandi had the microphone, and the sound system was on full blast. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," Yetandi began. Her voice was surprisingly calm for someone whose heart was racing like a marathon runner. "I want to thank Madam for this opportunity to speak." People clapped politely, expecting a normal thank you speech. "I've worked in Madam's house for 7 months now," Yetandi continued. "And I've learned so many interesting things." Madame Shadi was trying to get to her, but her guests were in the way. For example, Yetandi said, "I learned that one perfume can cost over 600,000 naira. I also learned that someone can go 5, 7 whole days without taking a bath." The crowd gasped like one person sucking in air. "Ladies and gentlemen," Yetandi said, her voice rising with emotion. "Do you want to know why Madame Shadi smells so different? Why her perfume is always so strong that it chokes you? Stop her." Madame Shadi was screaming, pushing through guests like a mad woman. "It's because," Yetandi shouted into the microphone, "Madame Shadi doesn't bathe." Chaos exploded like a bomb in the middle of the party. "What? She doesn't bathe?" I knew something was wrong. Yetandi pulled out her phone and ran to where the technician was controlling the big screen. Before anyone could stop her, she connected her phone. Images flashed on the screen. Photos of Madame Shadi's dusty bathtub, her dry shower, her unused soap, her army of perfume bottles. "For 7 months I have lived in that house," Yetandi shouted into the microphone. tears running down her face. Not once did I see this woman take a proper bath. She just sprays perfume. Expensive, imported perfume on top of filth. On top of sweat. On top of everything nasty. The guests were going wide. Gasping. Disgusted. Oh my God. This is disgusting. I hugged her earlier. Oh my gosh. I ate tea from the plate she touched. Then Yatandi played the video. Video footage of Madam Shadi in her room talking to herself. Why should I waste my time bathing when I have a perfume that costs more than people's salary? Water is for poor people. Perfume is all I need. The crowd roared with disgust. Madam Shadi was standing frozen in the middle of the party. Her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Her face turning from black to red to purple to green. And you want to know the best part? Yetandi continued, her voice filled with pain and anger. This woman who doesn't bathe or who walks around smelling like a perfume shop, mixed with a garbage dump, has been calling me dirty. Me when I bathe 3 times a day when my body is cleaner than a hospital operating room. She turned to face Madam Shadi directly. Madam Shadi, Yetandi said, her voice steady and powerful. You haven't paid me in 3 months. You work me overnight like a slave. You deduct my salary for small mistakes until I have nothing. My mother is dying in the hospital and you won't give me the money she desperately needs. Yetandi's voice broke with emotion. But the worst part? You treat poor people like garbage while you yourself are rotting inside and out. Money cannot buy cleanliness. Money cannot buy kindness or respect. You are rich. But you are dirty. Not just your body. Your heart is the dirtiest thing about you. She turned and walked away, leaving Madam Shadi screaming behind her like a market woman who discovered her money was stolen. The party descended into chaos. Within 30 minutes, the venue was half empty. The band had stopped playing. The caterers were packing up. Even the MC had disappeared. Madam Shadi collapsed onto a chair, crying like a baby. Her makeup was running down her face in black streams. Her golden dress was wrinkled. Her pride was shattered into a million pieces. But her nightmare had only just begun. The videos from the party went viral faster than anyone could imagine. Within hours, #Perfume Billionaire was trending. The woman who don't bathe was everywhere. Bloggers wrote articles. Comedians made jokes. Musicians made songs about her. Children in the streets were singing, Madam Shadi, no go bathe, just spray perfume. All her friends abandoned her. Business partners cancelled contracts saying they couldn't do business with someone whose personal hygiene was questionable. Her church asked her to stop coming because the testimony was too embarrassing. Even her own relatives started avoiding her. Madam Shadi tried to sue Yetandi for defamation, but her lawyers advised her, Madam, if we go to court, they will investigate. And if they find out you really don't bathe, the case will only make things worse. She tried to post on Instagram to defend herself, but the comments were ruthless. Go and bathe before posting. You can't hide body odor with designer clothes on a dirty body. Money can't buy soap. Her mental health began to collapse. She cried all day. She stopped going out because people would point and laugh. Some people would even hold their noses when they saw her. 3 months after the party, Madam Shadi's housemaid found her in her room, just staring at the wall. Madam, your food is ready, the maid said. Madam Shadi turned to look at her with red, swollen eyes. Do you know what I've learned? She asked softly. What, madam? That respect is not bought with money. It is earned with how you treat people. She started crying again. Eventually, Madame Shadi couldn't bear the shame anymore. She sold her Lagos houses and moved to a small town in Uwayo State where nobody knew her. They say she finally learned to bathe properly. 3 times a day now. With soap and water. And she uses perfumes only after bathing, not instead of bathing. She also started a small charity to help poor families with hospital bills, in honor of the girl whose mother almost died because she refused to pay her.